Welcome to Sports Scouts. I'm Joey Goodser.
I'm Michael Rowe.
And we're recording this episode 2.4 on Wednesday, January 28th, 2020. There are certainly some big things to talk about this week in national sports. But first, Michael, as always, will give you some scout scores.
Yes, we have a lot going on this week. Boys basketball has a big game against Stevenson tonight in the Comp Gym. They lost 51, or I guess it would be 37-51 to Lindblom on the day after a thrilling win over Libertyville last week. Girls beat Mundelein 46-30 last night and will face Loyola on the road tomorrow. Cheerleading has sectionals this weekend at Niles West. Gymnastics has conference at Stevenson tomorrow. And after winning the Winter Classic game against St. Viator last week, the boys hockey will begin their playoff season against Libertyville at home on Friday. Girls hockey beat Glenbrook 4-1 on Monday and will take on Maine this Sunday, and we wish the Lake Forest dance team good luck as they head to nationals this weekend. And the last two sports are boys swimming and diving will be up against Libertyville tomorrow, and wrestling will also take on Libertyville tomorrow. So that's what I got.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on, lots of things wrapping up. We do not have any gear up this week. We will in the future. Let us know if you want that. Just email us, sportscoutspodcast@gmail.com. The big team I guess we have to shout out this week is the Lake Forest High School dance team as they head to nationals. As always, that's a big deal. So thanks, Michael. That was Scout Scores. If you want more on the latest in LFHS sports, check out the latest articles in the Forest Scout. There's going to be more coming out here. The Forest Scout in general is going to be rebooting and a lot more active very, very soon here. Now that we're really
into the third week, I guess, of the semester, so
the second semester, so things will start moving. So we're excited for that. If you didn't hear the sport you wanted to hear, or we screwed up in some way, just send in the scores and informative news to the email, as I just said, sportscoutspodcast@gmail.com, so Michael can give it a shout out. So let's move on to national sports. We usually have our structure of the show where we go into show me what you've got in the news. But it's no secret that there's only one thing that Show Me What You've Got could be this week. So both of our Show Me What You've Got is really the story that has unfortunately really taken over this week in sports, which is the untimely passing of Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others who were on a helicopter on Sunday in California, and that tragically crashed and resulted in this very, very shocking news that has really taken over the world of sports, and it's, the impact of it is still being felt right now.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts and prayers go out to all the families involved. I mean, we've heard so much about Kobe and his young daughter Gianna, but I mean the other families too. I just feel just the same amount of I feel terrible for all the families involved, and it's such a sad situation. And but for Kobe, and his wife Vanessa, Kobe, he did something. He went out, doing something that he loved, and he took being a dad, I guess, over everything else. He had all the accolades on the court. Some argue he could be the first or second greatest player of all time, but the thing that he loved the most was being a dad, and that's what he did. He was going to with his daughter and the other ones that died. They had a basketball game at Kobe's facility that they were playing a game at later that day, and that just shows that Kobe, he was always there for his family, and I just feel terrible if I'm his wife to have those 3 other girls. They just gave birth this past summer to their, I guess it was their 4th, but now it's just those 3 girls with their mom and without their dad and their other sibling. I just feel terrible for them, and then the other families too. It's the same thing. It's just such a tragic situation, but it makes you like reflect on. I guess your own life, and I guess my own life. Everybody else probably had the same feeling. I guess that you just have to cherish every day, every minute, and things like this. Doesn't matter who you are, anything can happen to anybody, and you just gotta. It makes you take a step back and be like, oh God, I gotta really. If I didn't if I had a grudge against one person one day, shoot, maybe I should make up with them, because it's meaningless in the end, and life's so precious, and that's really touched me, I guess, knowing that Kobe Bryant, he's just such a magnificent person, player, but I mean, anything can happen to anybody, and nobody would have thought at that age that he would be leaving this earth. But I mean, it can happen to anybody, and it's just a sad situation.
Right. It's still so shocking. I woke up pretty late on Sunday, so I basically missed the whole news cycle of all the information coming out, and basically just found out all at once right when I was waking up, and I'm still shocked by it.
I know, it just doesn't seem real.
Just because of how untimely it is. He was reaching probably what was going to be a beautiful second act of his life after his career was over. He was becoming a great, he really represented what the family man in professional sports is, and he was starting to achieve on a new level. He had just won an Oscar a couple years ago for his short film. There was so much happening. He was coaching his daughters, becoming a great advocate for women's basketball. So many great things that he had started to build in his life. And it's unfortunate that all has to come to an end far too soon. And obviously, as you said, thoughts go out to everybody involved in the crash. There's a lot of family and a lot of friends who were impacted by it. Obviously, one of those people has an impact that stretches very, very heavily into an entire city and across the country, and that's still being felt. But we can't forget, obviously, that there's all of them, and I guess, unfortunately, these tragedies are unfortunate, but the positive things that we can take out of them are what they teach us and how they build us out of it. I don't think the sports world has ever been so united as they have been this week. In paying their respects to these lives that we lost. That's still being felt. We're sitting here on Wednesday, and tonight the boys basketball game against Stevenson, the Scout Nation theme is Kobe Bryant appreciation, and they're encouraging everybody to wear their 8 and 24 jerseys in honor of him. And of course, across the league, in the games that they did play, there have been the 8-second and 24-second.
That's a classy gesture by all the teams that have.
Classy gestures. Unfortunately, Kobe probably would have wanted the Lakers to continue playing, but
it's too much emotion, I feel like.
Obvious that it was going to be way too hard to do that, especially between them and the Clippers and the Staples Center. It would have been
too much.
So they canceled that, and the Lakers will be playing on Friday, I think is when.
Against the Blazers, I believe.
They'll finally play. And that'll still be an emotional day. It's just crazy. For me, I guess the biggest thing that Kobe Bryant meant to me was he represented an era of NBA basketball that I will cherish for a very, very long time. One that I hope we can start to evolve back to. A time where there were a lot of stars who were loyal to teams, loyal to cities, and had this grit to them and competitiveness to win. And Kobe certainly represented that. And right all the way, he started to fall off near the end of his career, but then gave us that beautiful 61-point game in his last game of his career, which does not seem that long ago at all. That seems like yesterday.
I was watching that. I'm sure you did too on ESPN when they played it back. I think that was the day after. It was on Monday, I believe it was, and that was just. It was just the last 2 minutes of that game. He just took over that game, and the moment that got me the most was after he hit that huge shot to take the lead against the game was against the Jazz. So they were up like 98-97, and then the wink that he gave to his family and then to Gigi, his daughter. That really got me. It's like, wow, and just to think that both of them are now gone, it's just crazy.
His daughter being gone is something that should not be.
I know.
Not only not be forgotten, but should be noted in its own right, because it seemed like, one of the things that in the development of women's basketball.
Kobe was the guy that was there. And his daughter too. It's so much aspiration.
Was so talented and definitely had that same basketball bug in her. And it looked like the biggest thing that the WNBA needed was some real star power, and that was going to be the way it happened. And she seemed like what was going to be this really, really amazing force for that league, for women's basketball, and all of that. And the fact that that's not even going to happen, and she's gone at 13 years old is just. It's unimaginable.
Yeah.
So I just realized this right now, which is absolutely insane, that we're sitting here recording episode 2.4. Kobe Bryant wore the number 24 along with the number 8. So obviously, if we can send out a tribute to him in any way, that's it for sure. Everybody's been paying their respects in some way. He's definitely had a long-term impact on sports in a way that not many other athletes have.
Yeah, and also on, I was watching on Twitter, I think I saw another clip from when he was on Jimmy Kimmel. I think it wasn't that long ago that he was on there, and then Jimmy Kimmel asked him, he's like, well, are you going to have another boy to carry on your legacy? And then he's like, well, no, my daughter's got it. I mean, she's, right. People, whenever they come up to me, I mean, he said, like, she was right next to me, and they're like, you can have another boy to carry on the Mamba mentality, and then he's like, I mean, his daughter was right there, and she's like, no, I got this. And that's just the kind of passion he had for his daughter, that, I mean, he was always there for her, and then his wife and his other daughters. I mean, it just showed what kind of a person he was, that he really wanted to, I mean, for Gigi to advance women's basketball, like you said, and then she really, I mean, she was the one to, I mean, I guess carry on that basketball legacy. And it's just, I mean, it's so heartbreaking, because even the like UConn players, because that was the school she liked the most. I mean, right. They were all, Kobe was their idol. I mean, like so many other people, that was the person they looked up to the most, and he was just such a, I mean, just impactful figure for so many, and that's what just makes it so hard. But I mean, the tributes
stretch everywhere. The first thing that I ended up seeing was actually, longtime topic of the show, Tiger Woods finishing in the tournament this week. Not knowing until Joey LaCava, his caddy, told him as they were walking off the 18th green.
Yeah, he's like, "Excuse me, is what?" Right. Yeah, that was really sad.
I'm not really happy with the fact that that conversation is so public.
I know.
He did have that performance. There's so many different tributes going on right now. There's a unique generational impact that this guy's had, and I think the two things that I would leave us with is, the Mamba mentality is a thing that will be forever, and this is a reminder more than anything, and the way that he would have wanted it to be, would it be for us to keep putting our heads down and keep grinding on whatever you have to do in life to continue to improve and succeed. So I guess it's only fitting for us to continue to do that, and then also the biggest thing is there's just a unique impact that he has, where
only a few have.
Yesterday, I don't remember. I saw it on the boys basketball socials, but I don't remember which class was doing it. But they were doing Kobe paper tosses.
Oh, I think it was Scout Nation, maybe.
It was.
I think
Scout Nation
was on there. I think, but it was retweeted. I think from. Yeah. I think it was I Love Hoops. I mean, the boys team's page,
I don't remember which class it was, but it was on the 24th minute of every hour. They were doing Kobe tosses in the recycling bin, and obviously, I think that's the biggest thing, that he holds that unique place in our generation, and I don't think we're ever going to say any other name whenever we do that for the rest of our lives. So, we're gonna miss this one for sure.
And then go ahead. And then with the All-Star game coming up in 2 weeks, I mean, it'll be, there's going to be a massive tribute across the NBA, and with that being here in Chicago, that's really going to touch home here. And then we've seen already, even at home, at the UC, they had the Sears Tower, I guess, or the Willis Tower, I guess now. They've had the purple and the gold lit up on the Sears Tower, which is
every major across the country.
And then the UC too had the same colors and a picture of Kobe on the outside entrance. And so I mean, he's touched so many cities, so many fans, people from multiple generations. I mean, he's just such a dynamite person that he really it's hard to describe. But I mean, he was just one of those few people that really could impact so many, that even if he didn't meet him, he could still impact them.
We have all these debates between, who's the greatest basketball player of all time.
Yeah.
And it's probably the number one most common sports talk debate. And
over any other sport, yeah.
I think that what we often forget is, I would say, one of the only athletes who even compares to Michael Jordan in terms of impact is definitely Kobe. I think that we have this, skill conversation and we talk about Jordan and LeBron, and we definitely leave Kobe out of the conversation. But I think where he uniquely enters the conversation above LeBron, above almost anybody else, is in terms of how he's impacted a generation, impacted a city, and that's definitely being shown here.
Yeah.
We talked last week about unanimous Hall of Fame candidates in baseball with Derek Jeter, and it was pretty clear that he was going to go in.
Yeah.
Very, very
this year.
rated
Yeah.
This year in the NBA Hall of Fame, into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and that will probably happen even more so this year. And it's just unfortunate that we can't see him make that walk himself. It's just heartbreaking to see everything lately. And I mean, yeah, just seeing everything from Shaq's speech on the pregame show on TNT last night, just everything. So that's the big story this week, and there's a reason why I've been talking about it for this long, because there's just been so much to it. So rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, Gigi,
and the others that were involved.
And all the others that were involved. So, yep. So next we're going to move into our Let's Sit Down segment. We have a Super Bowl roundtable with Dish co-hosts and halftime podcast co-hosts Wilson Irvin and Luke Davis, where we're going to preview the Super Bowl and kind of change up the tone a little bit. So, look forward to that. And for now, rest in peace, Kobe.
All the ways we grew, good things we've been through, that I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride. Without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you. Rest in peace to the late great Kobe Bryant.
Welcome to the Let's Sit Down segment. We are joined by some two new writers this year on the Forest Scout who have definitely made their impact for sure. They have a big week this week with both of their shows coming out here. You guys just had an episode of The Dish coming out. Yes. So Dish co-hosts. Also, you guys participate in the Halftime podcast, which there's a new episode on college football just about to drop pretty soon here. But yeah, we bring them into the studio. So let's welcome Wilson Irvin, Luke Davis. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Joey?
Good. Good to see you guys. We're here to talk Super Bowl. Just get all set up here because, Super Bowl
It's a big week.
54 is coming, and we got an exciting, I would say, intriguing new matchup between two new teams. It's definitely kind of the start of, I feel like, a new era as far as Super Bowls are concerned, for sure.
I'm really glad the Patriots aren't in it this year.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing nationally, I guess, right?
Yeah, finally two new teams because Mahomes was so close last year, and then just the 49ers come out of nowhere this year, which is, I mean, it's great for the game because, like you said, yeah, with Brady finally no Patriots in this game, it's I think it's good for football to finally have two new teams. So hopefully we get a good game to treat us, but to be determined, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess one thing to get started right here, we're gonna start with some recap of how the NFL playoffs have gone. Already getting into it with the Patriots, but I guess we can start in the AFC in general. Obviously, having the Chiefs coming out on top and entering the Super Bowl. Are there any exciting things that stand out to you guys as far as how that side of the playoffs has looked?
I mean, well, to be honest, Mahomes is like I think he's on a different level this year of his play calling, and like even though coming back from the injury and like everything that he's been doing this year is I think twice as better than he has been last year. And again, like Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and that they did lose Kareem Hunt, but I think that they haven't ran the ball as much, when I think that actually has improved their offense a little bit. And I think, but the scary part for me is their defense. I mean, even additions like Tyrann Mathieu to the team, but they still, I don't know, I guess they worry me a little bit when playing such a force of an offense with Jimmy Garoppolo, Raheem Mostert, and just a great overall 49ers team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me especially, I feel like, we've been waiting to see when Patrick Mahomes was really going to break through. I mean, the Chiefs in general, but especially him, and this has definitely been the year. And I think, Michael and I talked about probably the biggest story of the playoffs was definitely the Tennessee Titans.
Of course.
It's hard not to mention them, but, I mean, in the end, it definitely was Patrick Mahomes on a new level.
Yeah,
Luke,
for sure. Yeah, Luke, go ahead.
Yeah, you got anything?
I was going to go ahead and say the Titans as well, because they were counted out pretty much from the start. No one had them beating the Patriots, and then they beat the Patriots, and then I think the Ravens were 2 touchdown favorites over the Titans as well, and they upset them too. So I think, like you said, Mahomes is the big storyline in the AFC, but I think people shouldn't overlook the Titans because that was a pretty incredible run as well.
Especially with Derrick Henry, like if he continues to play the way that he's been playing like throughout his career, like
right,
you're talking about probably a top 10 running back all time.
Well, for sure, especially because I think the biggest thing that everybody talked about with him is the lack of what was around him and how he really brought the Titans as far as they went. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe a team starts to build around him, then how dangerous he could be, because he was definitely a threat just on his own.
And the first thing is the Titans have to re-sign him because his contract's up. Same with Tannehill. So I'm sure both of them will be back next year, but they got to start with Derrick Henry first, of course, because you got to build around him. But what a run for the Titans, and they'll definitely be. They have a great defense too, and their O-line has been there for Henry all season long, and have a guy like that behind them. I mean, it makes you want to work like 5 times as hard. So they're definitely going to be a team that'll be right back next year. So good things ahead for the Titans. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Okay, so I think that's definitely good for the AFC. As far as the NFC side of things, for me, I feel like it's really just the 49ers really taking care of business and just dominating the way that they were, the way that it was starting to look like they were supposed to. And they really took care of things and seem to be cruising into Miami here. Anything else you guys would like to point out?
I don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I guess, had a great season as always.
For sure.
But the Seahawks, just like there's not really a standout team, I guess you could say, in the NFC other than the 49ers for me. But I'm not like there's really nothing much about the NFC.
Yeah, the NFC could have went either way because it was that last play, Week 17, against the 49ers against the Seahawks, and they were like an inch away from like being the 1 seed, and they dropped to the 5. So there's just so many good teams in the NFC, and it'll be the same next year and years to come. There's at least like 8 teams every year that could probably be Super Bowl contenders in the NFC.
Yeah. We'll see how things shake up with that. Okay, so I think we should probably just move right into this game here. So coming up on Sunday, we got Super Bowl 49 between the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers. First of all, anything you guys would like to point out about these two teams, and what are their strengths and weaknesses going into this matchup?
I mean, obviously, you have the Chiefs' offense, but going against a very good 49ers defense with weapons like Richard Sherman, and like, I think that is what's going to make the difference in the game, is how well Mahomes is going to play against such a great defense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in terms of defenses he's faced so far, I mean, you have the Titans, which is like, okay. The Texans, and they had the bye, so they've had a shorter playoff season. So I guess this is definitely the most powerful defense they've faced. So that really is a big thing to look out for, is to see how they can see if they can continue to perform on a high level when they're up against a very, very good defense that the 49ers have.
I think it'll also be interesting. The 49ers, they don't have their corners play on a man. They have them play a side of the field. So I think that'll be a big factor on whatever side Tyreek Hill is on, because obviously Richard Sherman's their best corner. So depending on how often he's matched up against him, I think that'll be interesting as well.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. As far as the on a schematic level, that's probably the biggest thing that I'm looking at too, for sure. It'll be interesting to see how they move guys around and find some space. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, it's like a track team out there for the Chiefs, so it's just
Yeah.
for any team to stop them. But I mean, the 49ers, they've been battle tested all year long. They had such a tough schedule down the stretch too, and they gave up a lot of points against the Saints in that game. But after that game, they really tightened it up. Even against the Ravens, they only gave up like 20. They lost that game, but they only gave up like 23. It was kind of a sloppy day, but still, they showed that they could stop what's going to be the MVP, Lamar Jackson. And then even last week against the Packers, the Packers looked really good the week before, and they put the clamps on Aaron Rodgers too. So that definitely, it'll be, like Wilson said, the best offense versus the best defense, and we're in for a treat, I think.
Yeah,
so.
those matchups are always so much fun, at least in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah. And all season, everyone's pretty much kind of the 49ers out in the big games. They've always doubted them and picked whoever they were playing. And the 49ers, for the most part, have come out on top or have put up a fight, like against the Ravens. So I think that I don't think it'll change necessarily. I think the 49ers will still put up a fight no matter what. And I think that the Chiefs' offensive line has to play really well against a strong defensive line for the 49ers.
Especially with Nick Bosa out there.
That's true.
Yeah. And one more thing for Jimmy Garoppolo, too. Like, it'll be interesting to see if, let's say, the 49ers go down like 2 touchdowns early, because they've been running the ball so much. So we'll have to see if he can keep up with Mahomes if they go down early, because it's been Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman, and Matt Breida. So they haven't really had to rely on Garoppolo, but if they need him, I think we saw in the Saints game that he can be that guy still, like the quarterback, the gunslinger. So it'll be, on the bigger stage now, we'll have to see if he can still keep up with Mahomes, but that's another storyline, I guess, to look out for.
Yeah, also going off of that, Garoppolo's only thrown 208 passing yards.
Right.
Throughout the postseason, he's only had
It's
one
crazy.
touchdown. He's had one pick. So, I wouldn't say he hasn't proved himself in the playoffs yet, because, again, they've been running the ball to Raheem Mostert and all their other weapons that they have on offense. So
For sure. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that, because as you guys pointed out, Jimmy Garoppolo has proven himself in games where he's had to, but that hasn't been, that's been few and far between. So if he does have to step up, especially in a quarterback matchup against Patrick Mahomes, out of every quarterback in the league, he's got a lot to handle. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, so I think last thing here, just wrap this up. The only way you can. Who you're picking, what's the score, and lastly, what's kind of the headline of this NFL season coming to an end here? What's kind of the big thing?
Well, of course, the pick, I'm going with the Chiefs here. I feel like their offense is, again, too overpowered. Last time we saw an overpowered offense play like a really good defense was the national championship for college football. And
Right.
We saw that turned out Joe Burrow beating Clemson. So I feel like, I guess you could say Patrick Mahomes is the Joe Burrow of the NFL, where he's unstoppable. So I feel like the Chiefs will pull one out. I'm guessing I'll go 38, 28, and something like that. And then I guess you could say, is it the headline?
Yeah.
The headline of the season, I don't know. You could go Derrick Henry, just being like the rushing king, and he's having the rushing title. And I think that it's a matter of, will he perform the same next year, whether or not the Titans will improve who's around him.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Luke?
I'm going to say 35-31 Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs' offense is just too good for the 49ers. But I think Jimmy Garoppolo will be forced to play well, and I think he will play well and will establish himself as one of the top quarterbacks in the league. But I think the headline for the year would be similar to the college football, which is offense wins championships. I think that this season and both seasons, offenses have really been whatever teams have had the best offenses have really done the best, like the Ravens and the Chiefs. So I think the headline would be offense wins championships, not defense wins championships.
Okay. Michael?
Yeah, so I'm also going to go Chiefs. I'm going to say a little less scoring, maybe 31-28, just because of how good the 49ers defense is. But I think Mahomes will get his first, and same with Andy Reid, because I think that's the storyline of the year if he does win. Andy Reid finally getting that Super Bowl win, because he's had the most wins like without a Super Bowl in like NFL history. I believe in playoff wins. I mean, in NFL history. So he's way overdue for a Super Bowl. He's just been, and everyone, I mean, loves him as a coach, and he deserves this one, and I think he will finally get it this year in 2020. So if he wins it, the storyline of the year would be Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, I guess.
For sure. Okay, for me, I think that this game is it definitely depends on the first quarter and how Patrick Mahomes gets settled in early. Obviously, there's the omnipresent truths of, playing in a championship game in a Super Bowl and dealing with all the pressures of that. But I think the big thing is definitely adjusting to the 49ers defense. We're going to see I feel like the start for the Chiefs will be slow, so we'll see how the 49ers offense can take advantage of that before I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are really going to start to pick things up later on. So that's really going to decide the game early, depending on which direction that goes. For me, I feel like it's definitely a close mid-range game. I'm definitely rooting for the Chiefs, but I feel like you guys are all going the offensive direction. I'm gonna go defense here, but I do think you guys are right in that the bigger development is the offense is improving. I got 49ers in this one just simply because I think their defense is so overpowering, and I'm also just worried about the presence of the Chiefs defense. I think that they're gonna have a very, very key role in this game. So I'm going 49ers. It's gonna be a similar kind of 38 35 kind of score, mid-range score game, but that's basically where I'm going with this. So there we go. All right, anybody else have anything? No?
Nothing.
All right, perfect. Thank you guys for being on the show.
Thanks,
this was
guys.
awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, looking forward to a good game Sunday.
Yeah.
Halftime podcast, so give it a listen.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure to give that a listen.
Go check out the dish.
And the dish, too.
And the
Can't
dish
forget
too.
about that.
You can't forget about
When's
the
the next
dish.
one coming out then, you said?
Couple weeks.
Couple
we'll
weeks.
see where we're going.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, new one already out if you haven't already
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
it. It's
Oh, yeah, it's a new one
it just came
yeah.
out. Yeah,
Perfect. So, yeah,
Yep,
thank you guys.
for sure.
Sweet.
Thank you guys for
Thank
being
you.
All right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that segment, and we're going to move into our calling segment. Here is Your Scouting. Our first call today is about the Super Bowl.
Hey guys, long time listener, first time caller. I hear that the Super Bowl is this weekend. I was just thinking this one's a no-brainer. After the moves they made this year, it's going to be the Cincinnati Reds and the Houston Astros. Dusty Baker versus David Bell. Nick Castellanos versus all them cheetahs.
Oh,
I like the Reds easy. You and me by 40. They're going to win the trenches. They're going to beat the snot out of them. Give me the Reds on Sunday.
okay, so we got a pick for the Cincinnati Reds in Super Bowl 54, Jesus, which is obviously Peters there. No secret. And here's another call.
Alright guys, Michigan basketball is third to last in the conference. Michigan football has not been a major rival since I've been born. Should they just end Michigan sports total? Let me know what you think.
All right, I'm gonna be quick about this one. So year one of Jawan, definitely looking to make the tournament. Expectations don't change really on that, no matter what happens here. As far as ending Michigan sports in total, we're on a pretty long streak of leading the Big Ten in national championships by like double digits. So ending Michigan sports, I don't really know about that. We had a great 2019 between baseball going to the World Series, basketball being present again in the last year, John Beeline. It's been the worst. The 2010s were definitely the worst decade in Michigan football history, but it was one of the best in Michigan basketball history. So it's definitely a lot more of a nuanced story than just what's been happening very, very lately. So, yep, that's the end of your scouting. Make sure to send in your questions for next week at 224-544-9330. And we're going to move into our last segment. Just wait till next week. So my just wait till next week is very, very simple. Looking forward to reacting to the Super Bowl. There's always so much going on between the game, the commercials. We already got the big news that Mr. Peanut passed away at the end of last year.
People thought it was Charles Tillman at first. So I'm like, you see the Bears Twitter when they that was kind of, I was like, I saw that too. I'm like, oh my God, Charles Tillman.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. I don't think
that was bad timing. But tweet, but
I think Planners is probably not very happy right now.
yeah.
They had no idea how awful of a timing this broadcast this ad campaign was.
Yeah.
It was genius at the time, and then a couple days later we got some pretty awful news. So I don't know
Yeah.
what they're gonna do with that. But yeah, that's going on. Who's doing halftime? Do you know who's doing halftime? Isn't it like Britney Spears and like Jennifer Lopez or something?
I know Jennifer Lopez is for sure, but I didn't know if there was other people with her.
Shakira. That's what it was. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing interesting with
Nothing I really care too much about.
We'll see.
But
all we know is there'll be more commercial breaks than ever. It'll be a longer football game than any other football
they
game
make it longer every year. Yeah.
that's ever taken place. Gotta love the NFL. So we'll see what happens with that. The biggest thing I'm looking forward to, though, is just getting back into the rhythm of things with the normal episode. It's just unfortunate that so many, that the unfortunate news we got this week
I know.
kind of disrupted everything
Yeah.
else. So looking forward to hopefully having a normal episode of Sports Scouts next week.
Yeah, so we were going to talk about some college basketball. I mean, that was going to probably be the main thing. Illinois is just the resurgence of Illinois basketball, but because we really couldn't, because based off of, the tragic news we got, we had to divert to that, rightfully so. And so we will talk some more college basketball next week. We'll get into, I guess, Michigan even more I guess if they start winning again, because they need wins now if they want to make the tournament. So we'll get into them a little bit in the rest of the Big Ten, because that conference has just been so stacked this year. Joe Lenardi's projecting like 12 teams from that conference. It's like 7 more than any other one. So
No matter how
yeah,
change here, the Big Ten is definitely the best basketball conference right now. It's just insane. It's reaching it all.
yeah. So we'll talk that. NFL, of course, we'll recap the Super Bowl. NBA, of course, with the All-Star game coming up, and I'm sure we'll talk more Kobe next week. There's just so many layers to this that we have to cover, and also what Joey and I were talking about too, that this episode is 2.4, which is just which is crazy because Kobe's number was 24, and he wore 8 earlier in his career, but 8 and 24 are the 2 numbers that are retired by the Lakers that he wore. So
Other franchises around the NBA are retiring. these numbers, too.
And they're talking about possibly changing the logo. There's been like millions of people that have petitioned to change that. So of course, right now, Jerry West is the guy that's on the cover. Is on the logo, but Jerry West is so close to Kobe Bryant. He was the guy that brought him in from the draft day trade from the Hornets to the Lakers, and I'm sure he would be one that would be more than willing to change. His face, or I guess his body off that to put Kobe on there. So more to come on that. So yeah,
storylines with that. Hopefully things will start to adjust back to normal here, and there'll be a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah. So
that's all we
see
got
you next
today.
week.
Congrats for sticking through. Subscribe to listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, RadioPublic. Give us a positive review. Rate us. Do all of that. Spread the word. Subscribe to watch on YouTube. Finally getting some video back on. Apologies for the video issues at the end of our opening segment, but doing the best we can. Of course, read the Forest Scout. As I said, things are ramping back up, and we got more stories coming out soon.
Yeah.
So
some more to come all across the board. So be ready.
lots of big things. So get ready for another week of Sports Scouts, and in the meantime, we'll keep on scouting.
See you next week.